In 2020, an Australian government executive named Nick Orchard woke up behind the wheel of a car traveling 130 kilometers per hour on the wrong side of the road. He had absolutely no memory of how he got there. Orchard hadn't suffered a stroke or a sudden medical anomaly. His near-fatal blackout was the physical manifestation of acute, long-term burnout. Burnout behaves like an insidious creep. It slowly takes hold over months and years, altering how professionals perceive their work, their personal relationships, and their ultimate self-worth. Feeling overwhelmed at work is the physical manifestation of a biological system crash, occurring when the demands of the modern office exceed the capacity of the human brain. This biological limitation has become a heavy burden for the world's leading knowledge economies, where chronic exhaustion is now the normalized price of professional success, leading to unprecedented levels of turnover and psychological illness. This chart shows the scale of the crisis across three major workforces. We are looking at reported severe stress and burnout rates of 77% in the United States, 91% in the United Kingdom, and 61% in Australia. To understand why this is happening globally, we have to look at a specific biological bottleneck in the human brain: working memory. Your brain has multiple memory systems. While long-term memory possesses vast storage capacity, working memory, the system responsible for storing and manipulating information over short intervals, is strictly constrained in both duration and volume. We have built modern workflows on the assumption that our working memory can act as a massive hard drive, ignoring the biological constraints that limit how much we can actually hold at once. When you attempt to hold multiple tasks, unread emails, ideas, and worries in your conscious mind simultaneously, you exceed that working memory capacity. This triggers the Zeigarnik effect. This principle reveals that unfinished tasks persist in your memory far more intensely than completed ones. Viewing these incomplete tasks as unresolved threats, the brain forces them into a continuous cycle, consuming massive metabolic resources and attention control. This biological loop behaves like a resource-heavy application silently running in the background of a smartphone, quietly draining the battery while the screen is off. This metabolic drain creates a constant background of cognitive friction and mental fatigue, contributing significantly to the acute anxiety many professionals feel even when they aren't at their desks. When you combine this internal drain with constant external overstimulation, endless digital notifications, rapid, continuous task switching, and relentless doom scrolling, the brain loses its ability to hold a single thought for more than a few seconds. This background cognitive drain carries a highly unequal demographic cost. Women report significantly higher burnout rates, 59% compared to 46% for men, driven heavily by unequal caregiving distribution and the invisible burden of office paperwork and scheduling. Younger professionals aged 18 to 24 are highly vulnerable, frequently taking stress leave because fearing career consequences prevents them from discussing crushing workloads with management. The financial toll is massive. In the United States alone, workplace stress accounts for $190 billion in annual medical costs, while Australian employers lose $14 billion annually to stress-related absenteeism. As long as organizations rely on internal human memory to manage modern workflows, psychological injuries and turnover will continue to outpace physical injuries. To bypass the structural limitations of biological working memory, high performers utilize a strategy known as cognitive offloading. This is rooted in the theory of distributed cognition. The premise is that human intelligence was never meant to be confined entirely within the skull. Rather, the mind is a system that integrates internal neural processes with external tools. Once the brain trusts that a task has been captured in a secure external repository, like a notebook or a reliable app, it halts its internal maintenance loops and releases its working memory capacity for higher-order analysis. But that biological release only happens if there is an unbroken bond of subjective trust between you and your tool. If you don't fully trust the system to hold the thought, your prefrontal cortex will refuse to let go. High-performing individuals adapt to digital overload by actively outsourcing raw storage to external tools, preserving their brain's critical executive processing for deep, creative work. The most prominent application of this is the Getting Things Done, or GTD, methodology. It functions as a systematic cognitive relief architecture designed to move open loops out of the brain and into a trusted external system. GTD operates by isolating the act of capture, writing an idea down instantly, from clarification, which is the later process of defining the absolute next physical action required to move that idea forward. Mixing capture and clarification forces the prefrontal cortex to rapidly switch between gathering ideas and making decisions. This induces immediate cognitive fatigue and is why many standard task systems fail. Generative AI presents an incredibly powerful, non-judgmental partner to help process these captured thoughts, but it introduces a trade-off known as the AI paradox. This graph illustrates the risk. Research shows a negative correlation between frequent AI tool usage and critical thinking abilities when individuals offload high-level synthesis and the creation of meaning to the machine. To maintain your cognitive edge, technology must organize the container of your thoughts, rather than bypassing the intellectual labor of deep structural analysis. You can implement a zero-friction capture protocol right now. Maintain one central, highly trusted inbox, analog or digital, that you can access within 3 seconds to break the zygarde loop the moment a worry enters your mind. Tomorrow morning, spend 5 minutes on a brain sweep. Physically dump all of your current anxieties and unresolved questions onto paper to reduce your baseline cognitive load before you start your day. Sustaining focus requires engineering a reliable external hard drive for the mind, using physical and digital environments to substitute for internal memory processing. To learn how to build these exact cognitive architectures, subscribe to Behavior Blueprint. We offer step-by-step visual masterclasses on building automated GTD dashboards and integrating AI as a thinking partner without eroding your intelligence. Take back your cognitive health, clear your working memory, and close the ultimate open loop of your professional productivity by subscribing today.